Welcome. This is Scoasoft, an intelligent school administration software. In this video, we'll be walking through settings, and particularly settings for primary school. To go to the settings page, you click Settings. The first section of settings is switch year and term. This is important because if we have been using the system for many years or for the past terms, we may need to view or print or access or download that information which was archived. So for us to view that information, every time that we are loading in the system, we are already selected to use the current term and the current year. So if we want to go back in the year or in the specific term that we want to view information that we entered that was processed in that time, then we need to change it from here. In this field, we change the term. Let us say change term 3, and we can also change the year. We want to view information for 2024 term 3. And once we click save, alert is shown to us that term and year selection has been successful. So we have now successfully selected the year and term. Please note that information for the previous terms cannot be modified as it is shown here. Editing is possible for current term to avoid inconsistency in school documentation history, like going back and editing information, payments information, students information of last year or last term to bring inconsistency. So when you switch to the previous year or term, you're able to go and view that information in profiles, performance, payments, and attendance after switching here. Please note that by default, when you load this application, when you load this page and refresh it, it will always select back to the current term. So that is like that. So this is the feature of switching between year and term to view information that was archived or information that is current. The next section on settings is performance. Now we see that performance has many other subsections under it. We'll go through them one by one. We shall begin with subjects. This is where you enter the subjects that are attempted by the students in the school. So in my example here, I have entered 4 of them: English, mathematics, science, and social studies. And here are the teacher initials. Teacher initials are separated by a comma, and we are entering teacher initials for 5 classes. That is P3, P4, P5, P6, P7. Because currently we are supporting those 5 classes in generating digital automated report cards. So how do we enter these subjects here? We have a form down here which is called edit, add subject field here, and the first field is add subject. So what you need to do here is enter the subject here. Let us say English, just to say. So after entering here, the next field is add teacher initials. As we have said, teacher initials, we enter them separating them with a comma. For example, as we are shown here, even in this example here, AG, comma, this, comma, that, indicating the 5 classes P3 to P7. In the note here, it says that this is important for processing report cards. So you need to enter in this format, this field. After entering everything and you click save correctly, then your subject will be added here. Please note that entering subjects in a certain order will also reflect on the report cards. So in my case, I entered English first, mathematics second, science third, and fourth, social studies. So as you're entering the subjects, you keep them in the order according to the preference of the school. One thing I want to talk about here is that you can always delete a school. If you feel the order is not okay, or maybe you've missed out on a spelling or anything, you can delete. But this is good to delete before entering of marks has not yet started. it is good to set up everything before we begin using any performance features. So this is for deleting, and then we have the edit teacher initials. Let us say a teacher for primary 7 has changed. A teacher who teaches primary 7 English has changed. What do? We come to edit initials. This last one should be the one for P7 is I.J. We just come and change that maybe to A.Z. And when we save this, you find that it is updated and is also reflecting here. So these are the two actions that you can do on the subjects. You enter them and then you can modify the teacher initials, or you can delete and add again. So that is that about subjects. We can now proceed to the next section of assessments. Assessments, these are tests or examinations that the students do in a term. So in my section here, in my example, I have two of them. Midterm assessment, it is an academic assessment and the full score is 100. And I have end of term assessment, it is an academic assessment and the full score is 100. So you can add these assessments and you can delete also. There's an option for that. So how do we add these assessments? You can have as many assessments as you can. Other schools have 3 assessments in a term, others have 4, others have 2. So depending on the preference and on how you run your school, you add your assessments in here. This is important because as we are entering marks for the students, we are prompted to enter marks per assessment to save and compute a digital report card. So how do we add the assessment? We come to the form here which is titled Add Assessment. And the first field is where we enter the assessment name, for example, midterm assessment. And we come to the next field is the assessment type. We have one option so far, it is the academic assessment. So you come and select that one. On the third field is where we enter the full score. If this assessment is marked out of 50, then we enter 50. If this assessment is marked out of 100, we enter 100. So depending on how we are marking this assessment, we enter the full score here. And after entering all these fields correctly, we click save and our assessment is also added. And after we have our assessments in place, then we are in a good place to be entering marks for those assessments per class, per student. So that's that about assessments. The next section is grading. In the primary assessments, we have gradings. Now, gradings range from D1, D2, C3, C4, C5, C6, Pass 7, Pass 8, and F9, as shown here. So in this option, we are given a way to customize how our students will be graded depending on their score. So if a student qualified to have a distinction in a subject, a D1, here in the setting we have the score should be between 90 and 100. That's to qualify for D1. And the remark is excellent. So you can always enter this remark to be automated to come together with the grade. So this is as it is for D1, D2, and the rest of the grades. Is that you enter the from value and the to value and the remark that should be given. So that's how it happens. And after entering in everything correctly, you click save to persist your changes. Even the last remark itself, you have to set it and also give the remark here, the division, the from value, the to value, and after making sure that you've entered everything correctly, you click save to persist your changes. If you always want to change anything, you just come back and change, and your changes will reflect everywhere. The same thing with divisioning, that was grading. Now with divisioning, that's like a division after totaling up all the grades. So we can say that in division 1, for a student to qualify to be in division 1, we need 4, it is a requirement for 4 aggregates to 12 aggregates. And the class teacher's remark will be that and that. Here we have a default one as excellent. You can remove and put as the preferences of your school. And the head teacher's remark also is automated. So you fill in this, and also you come and fill in the condition for division 2, division 3, and division 4, all of them. So after entering everything here correctly, there is a last division for here, and you tell from which value to which value to be in division 4, the remark of the class teacher, and the head teacher's remark. After entering all that, you click Save. And that is that about settings in the performance module. The next section is Publish Performance in Parents Portal. So what is this? We have an application for parents to access information of their students in their application at home anywhere. They can access profile of that student. They can access performance of that particular student. So this is managed by the school. A parent should come to the school and request for the application. The school will provision this application to the parent, and will also be able to go in the system here in profiles and select any profile in any class. Let us say in this class, come to edit, and they should be able to connect that parent with their student. So the parent will provision this ID. Each parent has an ID on the dashboard. So after successfully creating the account in the Scoasoft app dashboard, they will give this ID to the school administrator or any person or the class teacher who has access to edit the profile of the student. So here the parent ID, when it's entered and these changes are saved, then that parent has access in the application to see this profile of the student, to see the performance, those are the scores in each assessment of the students, the payments information of the students, and the attendance also, the attendance log. So this setting here, which we are dealing with in Publish Student Performance in Parents Portal, it either gives access to them to see the performance module, or not to see. It can be that the school is still entering this information in the system, so they don't want the parents to see half information. So you can say not published, and no parent will see anything about the scores of the assessment in the application. So when you reach a time and you want to publish those things to the assessments, to the parents to see, you change to published. After, if you don't want them to see, not published, save, and they will not see anything. If you want publish, you say published, and you click save. But there's a requirement here. If you want to put a requirement, you change from 0%, the required payment of school fees. So if we say 50%, then only parents who have cleared 50% of their school fees will be able to see assessments. But if we leave it in 0%, all of them will be able to see that. And that is that about Publish Student Performance in Parents Portal. The next setting here has default values written within. It's the same value throughout. It's just an example. So this is like for the system to know how much is paid as school fees per class. Primary 1, Primary 2, Primary 3, Primary 4, Primary 5, Primary 6, and Primary 7. So this is to let the system know that this is how much is paid per student, such that when we are creating for the first time the student profile, we attach this value, depending on the class they're in, we attach this value as their school fees they should pay. Don't worry, this one can be changed when you go to the payments module here. You can click into the page, the payments page of that particular student, and you can update how much they should pay. We know that some students pay less money than others because maybe they have a half bursary or they have a full bursary or they're on a sponsorship. Whatever it may be, you can always change this value such that the student is calculated and computed correctly in the payments module. So per class here, you enter the amount is paid in each class. So this is a setting to store how much a standard value of the school fees per class. And that is that with the payment settings. The last setting is streams. So this is to set up streams in the system. So we have classes already in the system, but now we need to customize which streams are found in such and such a class. So what we do here is that we enter streams separating them by a new line. Let's say just as you're seeing it here, we say green, new line, blue, new line, and yellow. So this shows that in primary one there are 3 streams: blue, green, blue, and yellow. So when we are creating or when we are editing a student profile, we can always select which stream they belong to. This is so and so in such and such a class and in such and such a stream. Good allocation, even on report cards, it's easier to allocate where students are and be able to carry out administrative activities per class, per stream. If we leave these fields empty or we just don't save anything here at all, then the system will take it that the classes don't have streams. It's a single class, one class without streams. And this is all that we can talk about entering streams in settings. So that was the last section in our settings. Thank you for following all this way along, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.